Hello, and thank you for tuning in. You're about to hear a chapter from The Hidden Reich, a book that exposes how the Nazi regime did not end in 1945. It transformed, adapted, and continued to govern through new institutions under new names with the help of Western allies. My name is Dr. Bodo Schiffmann. I'm a physician, researcher, and truth teller forced into exile for challenging official narratives in medicine, media, and modern history. This work is not speculation. It is based on public records, declassified documents, and undeniable patterns. The very same Nazi officials and ideologies who shaped Hitler's Reich were later integrated into the foundation of the European Union, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and the post-war German state. They were protected, rebranded, and often promoted by Western intelligence agencies, corporate interests, and political leaders from more afraid of communism than of fascism. The Hidden Reich is not just about history. It is about the system we still live under. A managed democracy where power is hidden, truth is suppressed, and real sovereignty has been replaced by global technocracy. You can get the full English book at bodo-buch.de. bodo-buch.de. Now, let us begin the chapter. Chapter 13. Globke and Ardinau. The administrative state in the shadow of the past. The return of technocracy. The founding of the Federal Republic of Germany in 1949 was long celebrated as a new beginning, as a democratic break with the totalitarian past. However, a closer look at the central structures of the early Federal Republic of Germany reveals that not only individuals but also central principles of the Nazi administration were adopted and functionalized. Two men were at the center of this tradition: Konrad Adenauer, the first Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, and Hans Globke, its most influential civil servant. While Adenauer was the political face of the post-war order, Globke worked in the background as the architect of an authoritarian administrative state with striking parallels to the power structures of the late Nazi era. Hans Globke, the invisible chancellor, the lawyer of the Nuremberg laws. Hans Globke was no unknown quantity. In 1935, he was in charge of commenting on the Nuremberg race laws, the basis for the disfranchisement of German Jews. His commentary was no mere legal accessory but served as ideological and executive support for racist measures. Nevertheless, he was not prosecuted after 1945. On the contrary, he became a key figure in the new Federal Republic. The architect of power in the Chancellery. As head of the Federal Chancellery from 1953, Globke was the man who coordinated ministries, prepared laws, made personal decisions, and channeled informations. Hardly any other civil servant had so much de facto influence over the state apparatus. He had no democratic legitimization. His power was based on confidentiality, loyalty, and legal control. Parallel to Hans-Heinrich Lammer's head of the Reich Chancellery under Hitler, Globke was not a loud politician either, but a functionary with system responsibility. Both ensured that the politic will of the top was translated into administrative action with maximum effectiveness but minimal transparency. Adenauer, the regulatory state as a state doctrine, anti-communism, authority and control, Konrad Adenauer was convinced that a stable state had to be based on control, order, and loyalty. He viewed democratic participation with suspicion and political opponents, especially left-wingers, with contempt, and instead favored a strict executive. In his memoirs, he repeatedly expressed the conviction that Germany was there to govern, not to argue. No break with the past. Adenauer was prepared to take on high-ranking Nazi functionaries in the judiciary, police administration, and diplomacy, as long as they appeared politically loyal to him. His justification? Expertise is more important than it was in the past. Globke was only the most visible case of a structural decision. Adenauer did not want denazification. He wanted functionality and efficiency. This attitude contributed significantly to the reproduction of authoritarian administrative patterns. The Globke system, a state within a state, the combination of constitutional facade, intelligence service control. Globke coordinated the relationship with the BND, the German Secret Service, legally secured executive power. Democratically non-legitimized bureaucracy. Created a structure that was in many ways reminiscent of the later Nazi state, without its ideological radicalism, but with its form, information control, executive primacy, and networks of individuals. The Federal Intelligence Service itself was led in 1956 by Reinhard Gehlen, a former head of the Foreign Armies East in the Third Reich, who was organized by the Gloka-Adenauer network. German foreign policies was shaped by numerous Nazi diplomats whom Globke reactivated. Globke's traces in the post-war bureaucracy. Globke's personal policy and administrative style had an impact far beyond his time in office. Legal exoneration of Nazi perpetrators, non-transparent coordination between ministries, administrations as a closed space, exclusion of opposition thinkers from the civil service. Until the 1960s, the Federal Court of Justice was also staffed mainly by lawyers who had already made a career in the Nazi system, often with the tactic support of the Chancellery. Conclusion of Chapter 13. An authoritarian shadow in democratic packaging. The Bonn-based republic was formally a democracy, but the centralized control of the executive was reminiscent of authoritarian models. The Adenauer-Globke system organized political control via information filters, deliberately refrained from denazification in key positions, received networks of the NS era, established an executive that was largely beyond parliamentarian control. These structures laid the foundation for later technocratic governments in which administration is placed above citizen, a principle that became visible in a new guise during the coronavirus crisis in 2020 and beyond. What you've just heard is not a theory. It is documented history that had been hidden in plain sight. If we fail to confront the roots of our current system, we will repeat its darkest chapters. The Hidden Reich is more than a book, it's a warning, it's a call to awareness and a tool for liberation. Please help me. Spread this knowledge. Share the chapters, talk about the content, and question the narratives we've been taught. You can order the full English book and support this independent work. And you can spread this information to your friends, and to people who have more influence than I do, like Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, or Stu Peters, or Vigilant Fox, or whoever. Thank you so much for listening, for spreading, for sharing, and for standing on the side of the truth. May God protect us all.